I've been playing Bloomtown because you have no time to game. Bloomtown, developed by Lazy Bear Games and Different Sense Games, was published by Twin Sails Interactive on pretty much every modern console. It's released on the 24th of September 2024, this year, and took me roughly 11 hours to finish. But anyway, what is a Bloomtown? To break it down into the simplest forms, it's a look at rural 60s American town, sprinkled with a dose of Stranger Things and a whole dump truck full of Persona. This game isn't shy about its influences, and honestly, I think that's fine. Brother and sister Chester and Emily are sent to live with their granddad for the summer, who lives in a sleepy small town of Bloomtown, surprisingly. Due to issues going on at home, we take on the role of Emily, the older sibling. But it takes all of one afternoon for the siblings to get embroiled in a strange underbelly of this sleepy town. While playing hide and seek, they discover that a girl is missing, and might not be the only person. And Emily is pulled into a strange world while looking for this girl with some of the local kids. And she sees some strange happenings. After making it out of this weird place, that night she's pulled into another world, this time by a chubby little Lucifer, who gives her, and anyone she brings along with her, powers to face down demons. So she can save the town, and in response, she can free Lucifer from his predicament. From this beginnings, the siblings' adventure to save the townsfolk takes on various evils, call upon a new friend Ramona, a local police officer's daughter, and a very loyal doggo wielding a rocket launcher called Hugo that can talk. It's a wonderful affair with some wacky goings on. The gameplay, as I've previously mentioned, takes inspiration from Persona, using turn-based combat with an elemental weakness system and the ability to capture demons. And while outside of combat, lots of shenanigans that either raise your stats or raise your friendship levels with various characters. Firstly, out of combat, you'll find yourself with a limited amount of time each day. Don't worry though, this is not a harsh time limit, so you can spend your days doing what you want. In the day, you can do a number of things. First, exploring the interconnected map that will unlock more as the game progresses. Each area tends to have several things to do, like shops, visit the cinema, library, or various other amenities. You can work in one of the shops, you can look after your small garden plot, or hang out with your buddies and more. Other than buying stuff, many of these small events give you specific stat boosts, usually boosting one of Emily's main skills: charm, guts, smarts, or proficiency. These specific stats relate to many interactions in the game, like charm or smarts unlocking more talking options, offering alternative ways to finish missions and such. But beware, there's usually a dice roll associated with it, so the higher the stat, the more likely you are to succeed. And proficiency offers effects like things like capturing demons and stuff. Hanging out with your buddies is also very important for a couple of reasons, as it not only develops the backstories of each of them, but it also offers various buffs and benefits in combat. And it usually happens after every single interaction with them, you get an extra buff, which is pretty cool. There's a lot to do in the town, and you'll get to know it really well with all the small events mentioned above and numerous side quests that involve you doing all manner of weird and wonderful things. Eventually though, you're going to go to the dungeons to solve whatever major crisis is happening. These dungeons are usually quite large, as well as a number of problems to solve during play, such as simple puzzles involving either math puzzle to interacting with weird creatures of this alternate world and helping them solve their weird and wonderful issues. And honestly, the designs and what you have to figure out is so interesting compared to many other dungeons in games, but I don't want to spoil them. They're something that has to be experienced. But finally, we come to combat, which as mentioned is turn-based. All your dudes go, then all the enemy go. No speed-based system here. And you get several options. Melee, which is just your normal attack. Spells come in the usual flair of various elements, healing or buff and debuff. Then you have range attack. Every character has a ranged weapon with limited ammo each combat. It does refresh before the next combat. This is important because the enemies have rows, and your melee can only hit the front row, whereas your ranged combat can hit everyone, and so can your spells. And then obviously there's items. While battling, being hit with numerous spell effects inflicting your own, you might notice that certain spell combos cause more damage, as inflicting one element effect causes the others to do more damage in a strange sort of elemental synergy. So be sure to pay attention to this to do maximum damage. Enemies also have strengths and weaknesses, the weaknesses being the most important, as if you hit an enemy with a weakness, it will be downed for a turn. and it has to waste a turn kind of getting back up. And if you manage to down all the enemies, you get the choice of attempting to tame a demon, which is a dice roll that various things can affect, like friendship levels and proficiency, as I mentioned earlier. Your actual level is also important as well, as if you're under the level of the demon, you can't capture it. And if this dice roll is successful, the demon is removed from battle, and you can utilise it to build your character. The other option is to go all out, where all you do to rush into batter the enemy. Things to note with the combat is the bosses can't be downed or captured, and all of them seem resistant to status cell effects, which is frustrating, as it makes the boss battles mostly just hitting and healing affair. But they do tend to have multiple rounds where they change their battle tactics, which was cool. So, when capturing demons, what are they actually used for? Several things make up our characters. First, simply their equipment. Each one has a melee, ranged, armour and accessory slots. So frequently upgrading these is important. And then you can have a demon assigned to each character. They all have their own main demon, which levels up with you. And then the sub-demon, which is one of the captured ones, can be added to it. The sub-demon provides a stat buff and adds some unique spells to your arsenal, so you can use them to shore up your missing abilities and such. And after some time, Lucifer gives you the ability to fuse demons, basically allowing you to sacrifice one or more demon into your main ones, not as in your sub-main ones, the ones you're actually using. And if you do it enough, they can gain new spells and level up as well. It actually tells you the percentage chance of getting a new spell, and you can push it to 100%. But do beware, as they do give you weaknesses to elements as well as strengths. So choose your demon carefully. There is some gloom to the Bloomlow. I noticed some spelling issues, but I'm sure as time goes on that will be corrected. While the story is great, I do feel it missed some build up at times. I felt like you kind of jumped from one plot point to another. And in combat, other than the boss's resistance for everything, you miss a lot. As in, the hit rate is really bad and incredibly frustrating. But apparently that was being worked on with patches as I wrote this script. And they do, as I said, fix the spelling issues and such with the updates as well. Currently, Bloomtown is sitting at 76 on Metacritic with an 8.3 user score, which, it does show a difference again between critics and users, but it's somewhat around that area. It's pretty accurate. It's a solid game. Overall, Bloomtown is great, especially coming from a small team with some impressive pixel art and fun music. And I'm going to say something controversial here. I actually like it more than Persona, for it being a Persona-like. And when I say Persona, I mean Persona 3 and above, as it offers some very tight gameplay loop, and the story doesn't overstay its welcome. In my opinion, this is a must play.